Are you still coaching, bro?
No. I mean, Mark and I have a trade exchange. That's the only reason we have the Poderino. We can't pay for the setup.
I'm curious to find out why you decided to step away, because I think you're a great coach.
It was like for the business.
Okay. How did it become evident? Like, where did the evidence come from?
I was not the best coach I could be, and I was not the best business owner I could be, and I knew, or I suspected that was because I was spread too thin and I was task jumping. It's weird, but like I'm not a hugely jealous person, but like I sometimes am like, I see them go for coffee and like.
I was gonna say, it's actually more about the relationship than anything, right?
Oh, that is the main thing.
People ask me, what do you love most about coaching, right? And I'm like, dude, it's the connection that I get to make with the person. But even more so in that, like, you understand that you've got a direct and somewhat indirect influence on this person's transformational journey. As people come to train more, it's like sometimes they don't feel like training, but because it's like, fuck, I get to see Seb, then I want to train. So for me, that's also been the best thing about it, but it's like the relationships you get to build, and over and above, like even when the training stops for whatever reason, you still have a friend in that person. And I think that's so valuable.
Welcome to another episode of Beyond Physical, where we talk about the mental, emotional, social, and at times spiritual benefits of exercise. We believe that exercise is more than movement, and this podcast is our attempt at sharing that message with the world by sharing our own as well as our guests' experiences and knowledge. If you enjoy it, we ask that you please spread the message by leaving a rating and review, or even better, by sharing with a friend. Last time we chatted, we spoke for an hour and we didn't even touch on what you're doing now.
I know.
How has coaching people one-to-one sort of influenced or said differently, how has your training people specifically in the physical domain translated to what you do with corporate wellness?
It's a great question. It's actually where it all started. Firstly, the coaching for me, it's something that I always knew I wanted to do when I was coaching rugby, like first year out of varsity. But I didn't know there would be PT until I went through the physical transformation. Then after the transformation, I remember like people saying, please, can you help me? Please, can you help me? I was like, bro, I know nothing. Only thing, and I said, no, nothing. I only know how to help myself and like my measures. And there's a whole bunch of work I still need to do. So I only started officially taking people on in 2023, I think, which is like 4 years post the transformation. In which in 2024, I was in the studio in Newlands. And then 2025 now, 2026 now.
What
but in
studio
2025,
was it the Newlands?
in Neighbourhood. No, Neighbourhood in Newlands.
Okay.
Doing one-on-one sessions in there. And then from 2025, when we were expecting my daughter, the whole thing was like time. Like this PT thing and being in person, it just seems like the traveling and being there, I'm going to be missing out on a lot of time. And I guess my relationship with time like just sort of changed very quickly in expectation of this. Hence why I pivoted to online. But to actually go to your question, I wanted to just share like the coaching journey. It's translated into the corporate wellness stuff because as I was coaching people one-on-one, and specifically in the studio, I was like, bro, for 1 hour, I'm charging X amount and I've got a lot of impact and value I'm adding onto this person. What would happen if that was scaled out? I'm sure you had the same thinking maybe with Horizon. If I build a gym instead of training someone, then I can impact more lives. So it was more about, for me, every time I'd interact with my clients, every time I talk to them, the biggest thing they talk about is like your work stress. Like, yes, work is tough. Yes, work is terrible. Or my colleague or my boss was this. So I started asking myself a lot, like if this is going to be a blocker that is potentially like, the blocker that's going to hinder my clients from getting to their goals. Because Bruce, stress, if you're stressed at work, it's going to sometimes affect your eating. Not sometimes, all the time affect your eating. It's going to affect your ability to want to go to training at times because you're just like, ugh. So I was like, what if I went to the space where people spend most of their day at anyway and try and make an impact? So it was more like I started speaking to clients and saying, hey, like, where do you work? And they were like, oh, I work at this place. Cool. Do you guys have any initiatives? They're like, nah, we do, but it's not compulsory. We have some wellness checks here and that sort of thing. But it sort of feels like a tick box exercise. And then I started by saying the thing I feel like I have to offer then at the time, because I hadn't built out and had the knowledge of like where the opportunities in this like corporate wellness world was, I could speak, bro. And the whole speaking thing also came from, I remember in 2020, 21, just as schools opened, 2022. I was asked to come speak at a leadership workshop for grade 11s who were going into becoming prefects at JP Boys High School. First time I'd ever spoken in front of boys. And from that moment onwards, like I had 10 boys come to me afterwards and be like, sir, like, I mean, I heard you, and all I did was share my journey. Like, sir, and you know, they're getting inspired. Like, and I'm like, sir. And just like having that, like, like these guys took nuggets out of what I said and they want to expand on it and they're now sharing things with you. I was like, okay, I feel like speaking is something I want to do. It was completely unpaid, but they paid for my flights, had accommodation, it was all sorted. Bro, 2 weeks later, I was called to Weinberg to go do a similar thing. There was no correlation. I didn't ask. It was literally just, I don't know if it was the universe like listening to me saying, I think I want to get into the speaking thing. And then about 2 months later, I got asked to speak at Sunny Fund Services at Apex. Apex, I forgot the name. But they're here on the CBD. And 1,000 Rand for that talk. And I wanted so much more. Obviously, I also didn't know, whatever, but I was like, bro, I'll take it, whatever. Because at the time, and it's like the text you said to me, even if it's unpaid, I just want to do this thing because like it's this itch in me. And the more I started to do it, the more I was like, I think I'm actually I'm quite good at this thing. And so the transition to then want to speak to the corporates came from like that foundation of having spoken before. And I remember I sent an email to the HR lady, but like half the time they don't respond. So I was looking for numbers, almost like I'm desperate for business, but I wasn't. I just wanted to just give a talk that I'd thought about that I wanted to share. And it was a talk that I'd given to the kids and I wanted to build on. The name of the talk is called Get Behind the Wheel. And it's all about like being the driver of your own success and getting to the destination you actually wanting to get to. And the whole talk is like around an analogy of like driving. So like you go to a driving school and each gear is like a life lesson. So I thought the whole concept was cool. That's why I wanted to share it. I was like, I don't care how much you pay me for this. I think it's cool. And then I said to them, I'll do it for free, do it pro bono. And I did the talk for them. And after the talk, the lady called me, was online, and she was like, I'm so sorry, like, we cannot not pay you for that. It was too amazing. Please send me your banking details immediately. From that, it was like, okay, they loved my story, they love what I'm about. And then I was like, cool, so what other things can I explore if you guys really took a liking to my talk? And I was like, look, we currently have this, we'd like to try more of the things. So it was more like I actually just got information as to what was missing in one company, and then was like, okay, cool, what do I have? And a lot of that was like also about what you do. It's that like physical exercise and physical strength within like the corporate world. Because a lot of them focus on financial wellness, a lot of them focus on now mental health, and there is a big link between physical. So for me, it was like, I guess coming into the corporate world was just seeing that I could use that 1 hour for a larger audience, but also I wanted to go to the place where probably most of the people were facing the same struggles that these one-on-one people were facing. And I could speak about those things. So I then started speaking about stress. I started speaking about like how you can deal with like team synergy and conflict issues in the workplace. And it sort of all just built up from that, bro. And from there, it was like I could build a product and service offering and packages around like to corporates and ticking particularly physical and mental health. And that's how I ended up in the corporate world. I didn't know what I was doing. It was more just like I felt like I wanted to share ideas and message to a larger platform, saw gaps, and then trying to plug in the gaps and still trying to do it. And I think there's a lot of gaps, and I think there's a lot of opportunity for people in the wellness space to get into that.
How are you finding clients at the moment?
Cold calling.
Really?
Yeah.
How do you get? So do you just search?
Let me
like,
maybe let me take a step back. When I was starting, I'd go on LinkedIn, look for the HR people so first I'd look at the company. So what companies do I want to work with? I realized that the financial services industry was like a very stressed industry, whether it's an audit, construction. So I looked for the industry who would want this first. Went onto LinkedIn, looked for all the HR people, got emails, would message some of them, just say, hey, can I just set up a meeting? And with some of them, I'd literally just phone the numbers and get numbers and then just set. So it was all about finding the right person, and that you'd always either get an email address or a phone number. So that's what I meant by like cold calling. But I got my first clients, which was Woolworths Financial Services, and I've mentioned Tiger Brands. From there, bro, it became like a word of mouth sort of thing. It was like, hey, I know this person, because remember, like if the Tiger Brands person's probably worked at another company at Clicks. I'm sorry, I'm probably mentioning all these brands, but they've worked all over the place. So they know people all over. So it honestly became because they were enjoying what I was doing and it was so unique and so special. Um, they were telling their friends about it. And I would get like emails, hey, can you come do this for us? We're also keen to hear what you can offer more. A lot of the time that was like, cool, we've already got bigger contracts or something in place already with a bigger service provider, but we can come and have you on for like once-off services. So started doing once-off services, which I was really okay with because I'm also like, I'm trying to figure myself out. And then started like building the team, started building facilitators, instructors, to a place where eventually, bro, like we've been getting really solid deals now where it's like what we're doing is somewhat working, but I still feel like we've only just scratched the surface. Yeah.
How many facilitators do you have?
Currently, we've got 2 in Joburg, got 2 in KZN, we've got 3 in
Nationwide, baby.
three in Cape Town. But when I say facilitators, it's either for like guys who can do like the topics, or it's like instructors who can do like fitness sessions for us. So it's a mix of both. I'm still finding myself doing quite a bit of it, but I'm trying to give more opportunities. I'm currently actually in the conundrum of like trying to let go of stuff, which like letting go and believing that people will do better than you, or hope that they'll actually do better than you. And I guess it's that whole point of like hiring people better than you, so you know that they're going to do a better job. But yeah, that's sort of the prep and what it takes to do all of that.
And your pricing model, do you price differently if Yanga is taking it versus if Seb is taking it as a facilitator? Like, let's say I'm one of your facilitators, right?
Yeah.
And I'm going to conduct and facilitate a workshop, and it is
on mental health in the workplace.
yes.
Yeah.
If you were going to fulfill that workshop as Yanga, would you charge?
No.
You charge the same.
No. So there's an agreement with the client, and there's a standard rate at which the sessions are done for. So I'm also being paid to do the sessions.
Okay.
So there's a standard rate. So whether Seb's doing it, whether Masindi's doing it, whether Kuma's doing it, standard rate, but you will get paid for that session. Yeah.
And there's a flat rate for facilitators.
Yeah.
Like an hourly rate.
Yeah. Yeah. And a travel allowance and all
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Does that include food and flights and accommodation?
Bro, a lot of the time you almost try to stick with facilitators that are like
Based in the
within
area.
you don't want to, it's not ideal for me to be like flying people out, especially at this age. Like I'd rather take that flight because at this stage, at least, it allows me to then maybe have a more broader conversation with the client around other things we can do, maybe find out more pain points that they're having to see what I can think about, what more we can bring and develop for them. So I don't think I'm at the stage now where I can fly out and like book people out. Definitely not. But it's more just like if you're in Cape Town and there's a session in Bellville, like Seb will cover your transport there and your rate, and you'll be fine. It's like an hour session and you're sorted. You know?
So your main costs are facilitation fees to your team.
Yeah.
And then their sort of the travel allowance stuff.
Yeah.
You don't have an office.
I work from home.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's lean, bro.
Learning, bro. I mean, after making the physical setup there at Horizon years ago, I think it made me really think about like, and again, there's value in having physical places if you understand the full picture and the dynamic around what you're working with. Like, again, with the supplements, and you're probably wondering what's happening with that because I've gave you a few. But I've been thinking a lot. It was like physical store, physical outlet, but it's like, for me, that limits you to a certain amount of people that have access to that location. Now, if you can maximize on that, that's great. And you must also understand that it's going to take some groundwork for you to become like a local, like known wellness boutique shop or whatever. So it was more just like, I think until I've built a big enough community, then can I like look at, when I say community, like I mean whether it's our followers on Instagram that we're selling direct to, whether it's a community of our clients that are corporate clients, a team, an internal team that's actually set in structure. Will I then say, cool, we need a physical facility so we can actually all have that team structure? But for now, I don't see the need of taking on that cost if I don't have to.
I don't think it provides sufficient value to justify it.
Yeah.
I think that in my mind, I wouldn't even consider having an office really at any point.
Yeah.
Unless it became like it's like 100+ people in the team.
Yeah.
And you want to create some sort of in-person culture, which is also very difficult to measure the actual value of that. Like I've got a friend, I don't know if you've ever met him, Fora.
Yes, I've met for it.
Through Fora's company,
He's doing
Clero,
Clearer, yeah.
they met each other for the first time over a year
Of working
after
together.
working together. Like you don't need to meet
Yeah.
people in this day and age. You can Zoom and stuff is fine. And also like for your model, I think there would be value in at a point if you had a cluster of clients that were in Belleville Business Park.
Yeah, exactly.
You had like a physical facilitation
Yeah.
space to make it easier for people to come and, and you could even like, there's a great discount because if you guys come to the space, we host multiple businesses at once. So
yes.
it's just, that's compelling. But in like other situations,
You don't need that.
what's the point? Like
Yeah.
there's which is super cool because you can keep it nice and lean.
Yeah.
Like the costs running away from you are deadly.
They are.
Fatal, bro.
They are. They either make or break you, bro. But the thing of culture, I think you mentioned is important, bro, because again, it's like one of the pain points that you hear with clients around, like they feel stressed or they feel unseen in their workspaces because the culture is not great. And one of the talks, also something that we talk about as well, is like psychological safety and like what that actually means. And it's linked to like company culture. But I also think like, do we truly understand like what culture means? Like, and you obviously are a business owner, you've got Horizon, and Horizon has its own culture. But like, and I'm not asking you like, what is Horizon's culture? But like when someone says to you like, what does the culture mean to you? What is that like what, and I think it's a word that's thrown around like a lot. And for me, part of it's like how we talk around here, how we walk around here, that's like a part of it, but it's also like values. It's so many different things, right? And I often feel like the issues start to creep in or things start to creep in with like having people in one office and you're trying to build a culture where there's just like a misalignment of values and there's just like different worlds you're trying to mix in, which is it's not impossible to do that, but your inherent culture and value system needs to allow for that. Like inclusion needs to be something that's like something that's inherent within you. And a big part of actually company culture is it's not like the stuff that you see. So it's not what I'm saying that like how we talk, how we greet each other, how we whatever, it's the unseen. So like, what does culture mean to you as a business owner and with like having a physical space and seeing people every day and being responsible for a team? And also I feel like a lot of people within a workspace divert the responsibility of a company's culture onto the company when it's actually not.
You're a part of
You are responsible for as long as you're part of the team, the responsibility is on you because you are deliberately and directly influence that culture about how you choose to show up, right? It's modeled behaviors. It's what you choose to see and view and what you repeat as well. So like, yeah,
I would push back slightly on that.
Okay.
Firstly, I would define my kind of what I see culture as, which would be a kind of a shared set of norms when it comes to expectations and behavior in the space. It's so much of that is, like you said, unseen. But I fundamentally believe that the culture is the responsibility of management. It's not the responsibility of the individual employee.
Okay.
And if the individual employee behaves in a way that misaligns from the culture, it's management's duty to correct or remove.
I'd say it's management's duty to uphold the culture.
But you uphold the culture by preserving it, protecting it, and you preserve and protect by setting clear boundaries, or if boundaries are repeatedly transgressed, then you get rid of the person.
Okay.
It's on you as the manager.
So do you then believe that as Yanga working at Horizon, right? If there's a culture that the management that Seb is upholding, I must adhere to that culture, right? Even if it's not a culture that I somewhat believe resonates with me.
Then that is my fault as management for having hired you and misassessed your values. That's on me. That's not on you.
See, it's not on me. You're right, it's not on me. But what I'm saying is the shaping of the culture in an organization is somewhat also, it's a collective effort. It's not just, so yes, management is responsible, but it's not just management.
True.
Like it is also, you are also a part of the culture for as long as you are in this, and you can choose to whether model the behaviors that exist or bring about an own thing that you bring. So like if I'm younger and I'm the loud dude who comes in and I'm like, yo, wake up everyone, it's Monday, like fuck, whatever it is, like that's what I'm choosing to build and bring into the space. So when other people can feel like, fuck, I can raise my voice and shout in here. Like it's not this like mid place that I have to like whisper and whatever. Just yeah, that's what I think.
I agree. I think on a micro level, it is the team as a whole and the
Yeah.
individuals
Yeah.
that create the culture, because that aggregated is your set of norms and values, etc. But in screening for people to bring into the team, you need to have a clear understanding of what the values of the organization
No,
are,
100%.
what
Yeah.
what the norms are, what the expectations are, and I always push accountability upwards. Like, could be for you, could be against, like you might disagree, but I think that management's responsibility by definition is what manifests in the space, and you have a duty to kind of guide around that. And sometimes it's like supportive, sometimes it's corrective, sometimes it's whatever it may be, but you need to be able to identify that and be like, okay, that was strange. Let me quickly reflect and see why that behavior happened. Like, why is this sort of propagating? Is it maybe that I wasn't clear enough on certain expectations? Is it maybe like just an inherent personality trait of this person? Obviously, all these kind of assessments you can only make over time. But I still think, even if you get to the point where it's like this person is just individually toxic to the culture, that's still your responsibility as the manager.
Because you brought them
You
on.
need to make the decision. You made the decision to bring them in, so you
Yeah.
need to make the decision to take whatever step.
Speaking of taking steps, I believe you've been in that situation. Not necessarily like from like a culture point of view, but like being, because I think part of being like a business owner or entrepreneur, not even just, I think just being like a leader, and responsible for things that you are responsible for, is being able to have difficult conversations. And it's still to this day like something that, and I think we spoke about this in the last episode, but what has gotten you to the point where like you have that, firstly, one, you're able to reflect, because I think you need to be sound to be able to say like, cool, like I can see you're not a good culture fit, or something's not clicking here, and I maybe made the error based off like a misjudgment of your character, and based off that, like I feel like this relationship is not working. And that's either in a work sense, but also think in like romantic relationships. Like quite often I've seen, not necessarily my friends, but guys, and act out where it's like you can see this guy's clearly not interested in this relationship anymore. He just doesn't have the balls to say like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, or I'm done with this relationship, or I'm whatever. Because I think it's hard to like break things off, but something so key, like you're saying, when you are trying to build towards something, firstly, and you have to take accountability for those things. So how have you gotten to the point where you've been like, because for me it's still something I struggle with, like a conversation that I probably should have today that's hard, I may prolong and have it like on Friday, but I know that the longer I leave it, the worse it just gets.
Yes.
So like, what coping tools would you give someone who's like, especially as a business owner, right, like who's like struggles to have hard conversations and just lets things sort of happen until they get worse, until then you don't have a choice.
Yes.
But by that time, like how it looks and how it ends up, it's like a lot worse and murkier than what it could have been if it was just like addressed early.
So what tools do I use to
Yeah.
try and expedite those difficult
Yeah.
conversations and actually have
Yeah.
them? I would say it's maybe not a tool, but like a lens is exercising perspective and looking at what are the two things that are in question here. The one is the short-term discomfort.
Yeah.
And the other one is the overarching vision that you have. And if you are serious about your vision, you need to exercise the perspective that this short-term discomfort is paramount to realizing the long-term vision. That long-term vision could be the relationship you want to build with this person, and you need to have a difficult conversation around boundaries, or it could be this, your lifelong fulfillment from a romantic perspective, which you feel like is not actually happening in this current setting. You've got to prioritize that over the short-term discomfort. Or if it's work-related, it's Horizon wants to be the #1 lifestyle strength brand globally by 2040. That outweighs my personal.
Is that the goal?
Yes, that's the mission. So it's like that outweighs my short-term discomfort, and kind of being very connected to that and using that as perspective is very helpful. It doesn't make it any easier, but you just have a clearer understanding of what the trade-offs are. Like, are you actually willing to potentially sacrifice your progression towards that thing just to be comfortable for another 48 hours? It's like when you put that into perspective, I find that really kicks me into gear. But it's still very difficult. But that is my go-to tool. It's having a clear understanding of where I'm trying to go, and then assessing, like, is this short-term discomfort or the avoidance thereof, is that really worth what my big, hairy, audacious goal is? And 9 times out of 10, it's not. I would say there's also an important, and this is something I still need to get right, is understanding when to go and shoot from the hip and go immediately versus when to sleep on it. And okay, let me consolidate my thoughts. Yanga said something weird. I felt uncomfortable. Is it actually weird? I don't know. Like, is this the context in which I need to bring that up? Like, there are 3 other people here. Like, maybe that's not appropriate. Okay, let me take the day. Let me sleep on it. But so getting those decisions right is quite difficult, because sometimes a certain behavior needs immediate correction. Like, if something happens publicly in front of your team and something is very, it contrasts heavily against the culture or the values or whatever, there you shoot from the hip. And you like, like I said, I still haven't gotten it 100%. I don't think I ever will, but you need to slowly build up the reps and the confidence to go with your intuition. I felt uncomfortable. That was like, okay, go, Yanga, bro. That was weird. Like, what's up with that? And then everyone sees, and it's valuable for everyone. That's very valuable for everyone, because it reinforces those values, because it's telling you, Masindi, Mark, everyone else in the space also, if they have the shared sense of values, like, why did Yanga say that? And like, said that. Like, that's
and then they feel like you accept that sort of behavior, which is also,
and then you make it a big thing, because what happens? Okay, you wait till the team meeting the next week, and that's hectic, bro. Because now you're going, guys, there was an incident last week that I just want to address. Like, doesn't need.
But also, everyone's known that this thing happened.
And it's like, it makes it worse. Like, you may as well have just gone 5 seconds, slightly awkward. Everyone acknowledges, get over it.
Cool. You're hired as a facilitator from next week. I'm joking, bro. That was a great answer. Speaking of things I'm doing, bro, I wanted to show you this.
Oh, shit. These are new iterations.
Yes.
I've not seen this name before, bro.
No, you haven't, bro. And I'm going to explain that to you. But I actually want you to pick the green card. No, sorry, the yellow card. Take the yellow card and flip it on the back. So not the exercise, the other one.
The yellow card.
The yellow card. It should be a core on the exercise.
V-ups, okay?
Okay, now go to the back of the card.
Mindfulness training.
What does it say?
Look around. What's one small thing you're grateful for right now?
What's one full thing you're grateful for right now?
Conversations that stimulate me with people that I enjoy talking to.
Awesome. So what I'm trying to show you there, bro, is like part of what I've been doing as well is, like, I haven't let go of this idea of like trying to make exercise simple, fun, and convenient for people through the exercises, but also through my experience in like understanding mental and physical. It's now gotten to a point where I'm trying to merge physical and mental within this pack of cards. So the front of the card has an exercise, and the number on the card is still how many repetitions you do. Then the back of the card has some form of mindfulness training. Either it's a gratitude exercise like you just did, either it's breathing exercise like you just did. So a tool that I'm finding is helping me now, before I get into that, is if I randomly pick a card, but I obviously know the color scheme. So some of them are like breathing exercises. And often now, before I go into like a hard conversation or something that I feel like is going to be quite challenging, like I'll take like those deep breaths, like it says inhale deeply, and then it actually works, bro. Like feeling like you are
You're
a lot.
regulating
You're
your
regulating your
nervous system a
system
bit.
helps a lot. But yeah, I wanted to show you that because I know you've obviously seen V1
That's
of
super
the
cool.
cards. You'll see there's like a tutorial video on there as well now. We're
Very
building a mobile app as well that will link to those videos eventually. But yeah, so essentially, like in answering, you'll see on those cards too, it says it's Lyra X Shukuma. Um, and that's a partnership that we did with Lyra Southern Africa, in which we co-branded cards for them for their staff members.
What does Lyra do?
They are employee wellness service provider,
Okay.
particularly focusing on mental health. But Shukuma, so the name Shukuma, and this is a story I've like been wanting to like share for a while because the like when I started the cards, bro, it was like I didn't know what to name them. It was just like I knew I wanted to build this thing called Why Not. The first product that I had in it was the cards. So then I was like, cool, let's just call these the Why Not exercise cards. As time progressed, I like you would know this as well. Like one idea becomes another idea, and you're like, oh, actually, I want to do this. And I realized that like the cards being lost in the ecosystem of like everything else that I'm doing in this corporate system, like it almost like it loses its value and it doesn't have its spotlight to shine. And I looked at like what other big brands are doing and like how do you position like such a unique product in like a big ecosystem. And what I eventually came to, which we'll see if it works or not, is to actually just rebrand this whole thing and call it something entirely different and something close to home. So Shukuma means to move in Xhosa. Um, and the whole point of the cards was to get you to move and to get myself to move during lockdown. And what we know and what we've learned with movement is that the more you move, the longer you live, hopefully, if like tragic circumstances to take you out. So the whole slogan is move more, live more. And so that's like the new iteration of the cards, which are going to be launching in a couple of months. Hopefully, we can sell them through at Horizon to some of your members, and we can strike a deal there. And then, yeah, so that's part of the work, man. So I've just been putting background work into like really understanding. I still don't feel like it's like 100% where I want it to be, but it's still good enough to go back out into the market again. I feel like we bombed out big time with the first one. I don't know if you know, we got into exclusive books and
I saw that.
with all of that, which is big.
There was that celebrity as well.
Yes, it was awesome. Pavi Malloy, who's also
Yes.
now a good friend of mine. But none of that actually worked out well, bro. We didn't sell well, and for a variety of reasons. I mean, marketing, and it's all on me. It's nothing else. I didn't think about the broader things. It was just more like get the product done and get the product out. But I also think I put too much pressure on like the MVP to like succeed. But yeah, it didn't sell. It wasn't in the right places. Again, it's like I say to you, exclusive books, which is like, yeah, it's big, but do you really think people exactly
There's
not
no
aligned?
alignment. Yeah, that's true.
So it's sort of like been going back to the drawing board and then like trying to build from scratch again. And that's a lot about what I've been spending my time doing, bro. Like outside of coaching, it's working on this, even with the smoothies. I mean, you would know that the last iteration I had with those was when I had to close down the shop at Horizon V1. What a special place, bro. I remember we had so
It's
many.
a construction site now.
I drive past there and like, every time I drive past there, my partner gets annoyed. I'm like, there's where, now I say where Horizon used to be. We used to be, but we had so many conversations in there. But anyway, but even on that, man, I realized, and that's something you tried to say to me earlier, like, bro, like you'll look back on this moment and on what you feel like is a failure now in years to come and realize like it actually was like a small drop in the ocean of something small. And that's because like I think on the first like we have this innate thing of wanting to get things right the first time. And that's often what holds us back, like just not having that ability to say like, okay, well, it wasn't right the first time, but let me try again. And I'm so grateful that I had someone like you who was constantly saying to me like, bro, like, fine, I know you've made this decision, it must have been hard, but like you're gonna be fine, you're gonna bounce back.
I sometimes worry when I say that people think I'm like minimizing their.
No,
'Cause
not
I'm
at
not. I'm just trying to give a bit of perspective.
I understand it, bro. But I think I often have the same thing because, and Kumo said it to me, he's like, bro, you have this like natural positive, and I think you do too,
I've
of like
called it sometimes toxic positivity.
positivity. I mean, you can call it that.
Everything
but-
is positive.
but you've got this thing of like constantly trying to like see the good and positive in things, which I think is beautiful because on the inverse of that is like I can see it and choose to see it as a failure, but then what good does that do for me? Because then I just believe I'm a failure, then I never try things again. Then you actually never know what could have been. Like again, we've never heard this before, but you look at all the successful people, it wasn't their first attempt that they got it right. And if they did, lucky them.
My mom
So-
also used to cue me with that, like the negative thing where she'd say, she'd either say, take out the violin or cry me a river. It's like, okay, cool. Like now what?
Yeah.
Like, okay, that's not productive.
Yeah. So like, what are you going to do about
yeah,
it? Is the most important thing.
True.
And so like, since that, with the smoothies, bro, I was like, bro, should I just let this thing go? Like, it didn't work out there. And even at schools, I'm like, I don't know if it's like, but at schools, I knew exactly what was wrong. I didn't have enough branding, didn't have enough visibility, all that. I knew what was wrong. It was just like, I guess, feeling overwhelmed by this thing you've decided to do and it not feeling like it's where you want it to be. And I just removed the pressure off myself, bro. Now I've gotten to a point where like the stands look really cool. I'm still on the mission to get a food truck. We're getting lots of opportunities this year. I mean, we're currently at St. Cyprian's Girls High School at their things. We're going to be at Bosch in the next 2 weeks. We've got a whole bunch of markets and festivals lined up. And it's actually at a place where I don't need to be there anymore because like everything is set up. Like I had to do the groundwork and sit there with like a non-branded food truck, a stand that had a flippin' what's this brand? This like non-branded gazebos and look like an idiot. Like people ask me all the time, "What are you selling here?" I'm like, "I've got smoothies." Oh well, couldn't say. I'm like, "Well, screw you too, man. I'm trying my best here." But now it's not that anymore, right? And just like taking those small wins and those small things of progression and seeing what we can actually build this thing out towards. And I'm still going to do that ready to drink version for you at Horizon. But yeah, bro, to answer your question around like what am I doing? It's literally just like trying to build Why Not Health and the corporate wellness service and the e-commerce store. We're pushing Shukuma and trying to get the cards out there in the digital version. And then with smoothies, still building the stands, still trying to get the smoothies out there. And then obviously the coaching and the speaking on the side. It sounds like a mouthful, but I enjoy it. Right? It's honestly everything I'm putting currently my time and attention and energy into like fulfills me.
But that's why you do it well, because there's enjoyment.
And like sometimes I say things that I'm like, fuck, that was a very intrusive thought to say in front of people, but they laugh. But it's like, because I feel like I can be myself. Because I'm not stepping outside of myself to do these things. And I feel very grateful and blessed that like everything I've ever done and whatever has like come to this point. And I know that it's not the end. Like in 5 or 10 years time, we could be having a separate conversation. I'm like, bro, like now I'm on the board of something, or I'm like lecturing, or I'm doing this. Like that's the beauty of life, right? It's endless. There's endless possibilities, and you can pivot into what you want. But right now, I'm at a good place, bro, and I'm very grateful.
That's awesome, bro.
Yeah.
There's a guy, I'm sure I may have mentioned him to you back when we were at Horizon 1, but his name's Naval Ravikant. He has a small book,
Almanac
of Naval Ravikant. And one of his little isms in that book is do what looks like work to others, but feels like play to you. That's how you set yourself apart.
Yeah.
Simple. It's like, and I always say to Claire, I'm like, take those cues, those states of what feels effortless, like what feels like, and then other people are like, you're doing that for that long, and it's like, yeah, like it's fun. There we go, do that more. Do that thing more. Because it's like, it's fun for you, and there's obviously some level of value in doing it a lot or in excess, because other people are like, cheapers, like quite something. And because of that exact response, a lot of people or fewer people will likely do that. Therefore, you can probably do something meaningful and create value and support yourself as a result of that.
Yeah.
I found that super reaffirming, because I don't know, growing up, I had my key mentor being my mom. She was always great with saying, ultimately, I don't really care, just get your education and then do what you love. Do what you love doing. Yeah, I think I'm so happy you fulfilled, bro. That's not many people in their 20s can say that.
Yeah. But I guess like, and then I often listen to things that say like, so what you said, what Naval said, what is it? Find what you
do what looks like work to others but feels like play to you.
But then you have some people who say like, the only people who say, and maybe you're not saying this directly, but it almost sounds like that, like do what you love sort of narrative. But some people say like, only people who are rich will tell you do what you love.
That's a fair point.
Like, at some point, those guys were not doing what they loved. Like they were out there in offices doing all these things to build up whatever they had to build up to eventually do what they love. So I think, in as much as I say it now, like I haven't always been doing what I loved, and what I haven't always loved what I'm doing in the sense of like being in the stands and like it's pissing with rain. I'm standing there trying to sell a smoothie to people who are like, "Why are you selling me a smoothie in the rain?" Like that sort of thing. Like that, I haven't loved those moments, but looking back on it now, I'm like, geez, they were so precious. They were so beautiful. Like those are the moments I needed because it's helped me deal with rejection. It's helped me being able to put myself out there. And if it all bums and fails, I don't mind looking like an idiot and feeling humiliated because I've done that so many times. So if you look at it and see like, yo, Younger's failed, bro, best believe he's chilled now because he's been in those positions over and over and over again. So I think in as much as like there's a narrative to do what you love, yes, you should. If it doesn't look like for you like that right now, I don't think you're a failure. Like if you're not doing what you love, you haven't failed at life, and if you don't see that coming in like the next, it doesn't mean you're a failure. It just means that like at least you know like there's a place that you need to get to, and that place can feel like play, but it's actually work, like we've said.
Yes.
You know?
I think it's up until a certain point, the important thing is to do what's required.
Yes.
Obviously.
Yes.
Until you hopefully achieve optionality to potentially
Sleep.
choose.
Yes.
Then, then it's like, by all means, that's why I often like, and I try not be like high horsey about it, but I have that with a lot of my high school peers because I went to one of the most privileged schools in the world, as a matter of fact. And it's like, I look at what some of these guys are doing, and I'm like, you are so fucking bored with your life.
Yeah.
You hate your job, and you're rich.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? Like, go and do something that you enjoy. Like, what the fuck is like going on that you like choosing to continue to put yourself in a position of mopiness and negativity where you have this, you are disrespecting the people that would chop one of their feet off to be in the position you are, and then you're like going this like sort of conventional route for what? For like societal pressure because there's like a family member who thinks this is the right thing.
Yeah.
I think it's absolute bullshit. It's like privilege is wasted on those people. It's wasted on those people. 100%. It's fucking lame. I think it's the most like loserish behavior ever, and it sounds very judgmental. It is very judgmental, but it confuses me. I don't understand how anyone who has financial security and has some understanding of what they like doing decides intentionally to do something that they don't like because there's an external expectation to do that thing. It like blows my mind.
Do you know what it is, bro? Well, yes, it does blow my mind. Also, there was a lot of passion that came out of that, which
I triggered myself. Sorry, guys.
which I did because you also went to the school, so it's like no one can hold it against you. But for me, it's like a not to market my talk, but it's this thing that I speak about in like the Get Behind the Wheel, in that for a large part of your life, like up until you are, let's take it to driving. So when you are a child going to school or whatever and you can't drive yet, you don't have a choice as to where you end up. Like if you're ever driving with your mom, like if you wanted to go to the store there and stop there and she said, no, we're not stopping, you're not stopping, bro. Like you're going to miss out on that, and that's just that. Until you get to a point where you're 18, right? Like, stay with me. You're 18 and you've now got the ability to be able to, one, get in the driver's seat. But before you do that, you obviously have to learn. You have to learn the rules of the road. You have to learn how to drive. And so for me, I think what happens with those people is like, they don't ever get to the point where they get into the driver's seat of their lives and they stay in the passenger seat forever, which is the worst thing that can happen to you. Because then, one, you are not in control of where you end up. Like you're saying, you're being told or what's believed of like where the destination you should be in. So you're constantly in this state where like you are a driver or a passenger in your own life. And you have accepted that. You're actually never getting into the wheel saying, fuck, what happens if I choose to start the car? Geez, okay, cool. Now I've got some momentum here. If I choose to change to this gear, what's going to happen? It's going to go forward. It's going to go back, right? And I'm not going to go into the full thing. But the point is that, like, I think in that case, you have a lot of people who have never taken the bold step to actually get behind the driver's seat to then actually take control of their own destination. Because it's harder, right? Because when you're responsible for your own destination,
it's riskier.
It's riskier, yeah.
Socially, it's riskier.
Yes.
You're more exposed to judgment if you mess it up.
Yes.
I told you.
Exactly. So it's a lot riskier to get behind that, right? But what you also find is that, like, once you're in the driver's seat of the car, you also have somewhat of a say, like, okay, who's in your passenger seat now? Who's in your back seat? Meaning, who's your company? So, like, for some people as well, like they never even make the choice of like, geez, like where I'm ending up, like, do I like the people I'm around? Do I want to be around these people? So life just becomes this thing where like it just happened to you. Like life just happened to
And
you.
that
It never
creates
happened
so
for you.
much anxiety.
Anxiety, but also creates so much like animosity and hatred and blame. That's what you feel. It's anxiety inducing for you because you know what it's like to be in the driver's seat.
No, but even as the passenger,
Passenger,
because
yes.
you're out of control,
Control,
that,
exactly.
that induces anxiety.
Exactly. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that's what you
Can't do
meant.
anything. It's like, you know,
Exactly my point. And then you look at the stats around like how anxious people are in this day and age, and also like what you're saying, like you have people who have all the resources, have all the security, but for some reason are not taking control of their lives. Why? And I think it's because they've never learned how to. They've never learned or never been told how to because things have always been done for them. In that environment, it's probably that thing of like you've always had the security, you've always been told, things have always been sorted for you. You've never had to figure it out yourself, or at least put yourself in the responsibility where you've had to learn to take the wheel and also to take the risk of either getting into an accident, i.e., making a mistake, missing a stop sign, paying the fines, paying the cost of actually getting to the end destination that you want to get to, not where you end up because someone else said you should do that. And I think it's like such a sad, sad, sad place to end up in at like 50 years from now, when you're 70 or whatever, look back and you're at a destination when you're like, this is never where I wanted to be, and this is never who I wanted to be around. And I think for most people, life ends up like that, and that is fucking sad.
God,
Like,
it's
get
terrible.
behind the fucking wheel and get like to the destination you want to get to, and make those choices, bro. I think that's the end of it all. It's like people don't want to make those choices for themselves, so then
Yeah.
you have to make the choice for them.
There's a saying that something along the lines of if you lived someone else's life, you would have made the same decisions they've made. And I think there is an important like element of that where I
Yeah.
kind of think that with my perspective, it's like baffling to me that those decisions are being made. But with your sort of unpacking of how things had played out, it kind of perhaps made sense that they stayed in the passenger seat.
Yeah.
But once you kind of have that eye open moment of like, I am dissatisfied, I know that I can do other stuff, and there's no like actual logical thing that's preventing me from taking that jump. Take the driver's seat as you
Yeah.
take the wheel as
Get
you
behind
said.
the wheel,
Get
bro.
behind the wheel.
Yeah.
It's a strange one. I do really think fundamentally why it impassions me is because I think the duty of people with privilege is to open doors and to uplift and to create opportunity for people who didn't.
Yeah.
And if you're doing shit that bums you out, you're adding no fucking value to the world. You're just bringing the world down
Yeah.
and making the world. So, if you have the choice,
Yeah.
if you have the optionality. So it's like, I think that's what stresses me out. It's not necessarily like a bad. It's
Yeah.
you've been given this thing. The reason you have that thing is so that you can create the space for other people to also have that.
Yeah.
And it's like, don't hoard it.
You should go and spread this message at the school that you're at.
Bro, that's a very good point. I think
That should be like your first
I think
talk.
some parents would come at me, but it's and look, also to sort of touch on it more. I also have friends who take the conventional route and they really enjoy it, and it pushes them and they're into it, and it's cool, and it's like that, like, okay, cool, like duty, privilege. I dial it back a little bit because you found what you really enjoy doing, and you probably are bringing positivity and things into the
Yeah.
world by going that specific route. It's more for people who are deeply dissatisfied and disconnected from their truth and their where they should be heading in, because life also gives you these like nudges and lessons and we just overlook them.
Yeah.
Like, it was so obvious that I was into fitness, but I only realized when I was like, what was it, like 21, I think, or 20, that I wanted to try and make it a career. It was like in my face the whole time.
Yeah.
So it like, and life was telling me that with like what my interests were.
Yeah.
You kind of just need to like open up to what that is. Like, what are these recurring things that you're doing all the time? And, but I agree with you. I think it would be valuable to
I think you should.
because I also think there'd be impact on the world.
Yeah.
I think if more Bishop students used privilege that they come into the world with to do what they're passionate about and change and create value, I think there's an amazing butterfly effect to that.
Because they've got so much like
Access, bro.
exactly.
Fucking
So
come on.
there's your next.
Tap
Let's
in.
go, tap in.
Tap into
Yeah.
it.
No, I agree, bro. But what you said is The signs thing, it's gear number 2 in the talk. And like as I say, as you now in the car and the car starts moving, like when you're in gear 2, that's a point where you got to look out for like the signs, whether it's a stop sign, whether it's a this or this. But it's like when you convert it to like a life view, it's like everything you're saying. Like at this point of like getting behind the wheel or taking control, life will present you with signs, but you've actually got to pay attention to the signs. Otherwise, then you take the wrong turn, or you don't, that's that sort of thing. But it's like you're saying, if you don't listen to the signs early enough, then your road becomes longer. But if you listen to the signs and you're more, and again, I think sometimes you don't listen or see the signs because you're not aware enough, and your awareness is hindered by maybe you're numbing yourself by doing certain activities that you're just like you're not even like half here. Most of the time, in whatever way that is, maybe you're sleeping late and like you're just constantly groggy and you just whatever it is, but it's just you're not in a conscious state to see like, oh shit, this is happening, or to reflect to say, oh wow, like if I trace back the steps in my life, like this has been a constant, like you said with fitness, like this has always been a part of me, like it was a no-brainer for me to end up pursuing this as a career. But you don't look at that, and people don't sit enough to say like, shit, if I'm trying to map the dots, what is that thing? Like maybe the world's told me to go in this way, but like what is that thing that I've constantly had? And even when I do to this day, it's the thing that I'm just like, that was so nice. And then find a way to like, and I'm very wary of this because it's like I want to say find a way to create a life for yourself outside of that. But in the same breath, it's like we don't always have to make everything that we enjoy, like we don't have to make it into like a profit
I
thing.
agree.
Like I know this is not relevant to what we were trying to say, but just in general, like I think now things that we find fun, we're constantly trying to like monetize, and that's where you actually lose the funness in those things. Like whereas sometimes you just got to do things because they're fun, man, and like
A lot of people push that message though of like, don't do your passion, like keep your passion your fun thing,
yeah.
and do a job that challenges you and meets your needs, and that's a really full, amazing life.
But
And I
depends
think,
on the individual, I think.
yeah, I think you can. There are many ways to skin a cat.
Yeah, yeah. Favorite line.
There's no one size fits all.
Yeah.
I'm seeing it now actually with a friend of mine, my partner's brother. He is
Greg.
also he's also really into
Saw him at the gym the other day.
exercise and things like that. Were you at Wembley?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. We're at Foreshore.
Okay. He's a bit of a virgin nomad, bro.
I
He
can
jumps
see, bro.
around.
Yeah.
But he is also very big into exercise, and
Yeah.
he's big into impact and leveraging his access to help other people and doing fundraisers and all these kind of
Yeah.
things. And now he is just documenting it. He's documenting it and he's filming it. He's putting it online. He still does his regular day job, but
Yeah.
he's creating a lot of time to actually like put energy into the stuff that really lights him up.
Yeah.
And I think that's step one.
Well, yeah, it is.
If you feel like you could maybe fill your cup a little bit more professionally, but you're not sure, like lean more into like the extramurals and share that with people.
Yeah.
And again, then those signs start to self-reveal a little bit more.
100%,
You
bro.
literally just like, bro, the exercise thing for me, like I started doing these outdoor workouts and videoing stuff for fun.
Yeah.
I had no intention of making it a career.
Yeah.
It happened organically. I guarantee you, I think 95% chance it would not have happened and turned into a career if I hadn't poured the extra energy in of like, okay, let me
see where this can go.
outside. I think it's fun. I think it's cool to talk about. Let me talk about it. Let me record the conversation. Let me record my workout. And then it's sort of like, it goes from there. And I think that can apply to myriad things, it's like cooking or gardening or reading. Bro, they book reading pages on Instagram.
That's the thing. It's like
Everything.
the people who make
Bricklaying.
people are being like known for the wildest things out there. But it's like you said, it's like because it's probably started as like this is something they probably would just do without recording it. Now they're recording it and sharing it. That's the only difference.
Have you ever seen those videos on TikTok and stuff where guys are like doing their construction jobs and documenting it? They have
Well, I'm not really big on TikTok.
Neither am I anymore. But like also on Reels, they're like doing their day job and this is a day in the life. I'm like, shit, this is really interesting.
Yeah.
This is really cool.
Because it's outside of your world,
Yes.
right? It's like,
and it's like social media for all the kind of negative backlash it gets and the poison it does put into the world at times. It's such a an amazing
Yeah.
tool to like
Yeah.
share what you're into.
Yeah,
And then,
100%.
you know,
At large
maybe
scale, at a
at
large
large
scale.
scale, and maybe if other people like it, you know, then it could fund your hobby, or
Yeah.
it could, I don't know, like the construction guy, he could now have an opportunity to independently consult to people
Yeah.
about bricklaying, and like
Yeah.
that's amazing and adds
And then it
value.
will come literally just from him sharing something that he
And
does.
he wasn't trying to; he was just having fun.
Yeah.
You know, again, like you said, it doesn't have to turn into a business, but it's
If it does, then that's beautiful.
yeah, true.
Like, but it's also because there's this lady who was doing candle. No, I think she was selling candle wax, but she designed like these like unique sort of candle things, and she would just do it because she was like loving it, and then she started selling it, and then now it's grown into like this big thing. But she shares very openly around like she said, if I had known that like I'd have to be dealing with like income statements and this, and just from like enjoying making candles, I probably wouldn't have done it. She's not saying she's not grateful for the life that she has, but she's like you're saying, it can become something beautiful. But I think people forget that like some of these amazing things that you see in the world are not because like someone was trying hard to think about it. Like something were just being themselves and they shared it. And like, look at this. Even a lot of these like viral influencers like Kabi Lame, I Show Speed, like all these guys, bro. It's like these guys are literally just being authentic.
They're
Like,
just doing their thing.
and I remember like the best advice that I got from very, very like successful man was like, bro, just be authentic. And I remember the time I was like, bro, you're so rich. Is that is that the only thing you're gonna tell me?
That is so funny. man.
Like, I didn't say this to him, but in my head I'm like, give me something. Like,
It's like this. You got to be joking.
like you gotta be joking, be authentic. Like that's something I always do. And he was like, yeah, keep doing it.
It's because
You'll see where it takes you. And that's the
rare.
thing.
It
It's because
cuts
it's
through the
something so
noise.
rare now. Like, because everyone's trying to be something. Everyone's trying to sound like someone. Everyone's trying to mimic someone's dance. Everyone's trying to build another horizon. But not. They don't know that like what makes you authentic is that no one has the same story as you. No one. So by that mere value, you are authentic. And I think people need to start looking more within themselves instead of outside of themselves to actually start getting that thing that you were talking about.
That's the
It's,
number one principle, which
like-
you just said. That is the number one thing. It's bring the locus of existence and meaning and inwards.
Yeah.
It's like, and it's so difficult because we're social creatures. It's a survival mechanism to
yeah.
have approval from the tribe.
Yeah.
We need that.
Because we want to belong.
It makes us feel safe.
Yeah.
Belonging is safety because we have our tribe around us and who care for us, and we accumulate like all this protection, this insulation. So if you kind of divert off and do your own thing and you feel lonely, that's really scary.
Yeah.
You know, but the cool thing is, after some time, your environment and your tribe actually equalizes, might be with different people, but you break off from the original one, and then because of your doing what you're into and your natural interest and your authenticity, you attract a different group of people.
Yeah.
So there is like a lonely middle,
Yeah.
which is normal, painful and weird, but like that happens.
But we know that. To be right, we know that. Yeah.
But I think that is what makes it difficult, and why your mentor was actually like not being pithy or whatever. It was like, it's the truth. It's difficult, and that's why a lot of people don't have that authenticity, at least publicly, because you don't want to be ostracized or feel like you're different.
Yeah.
You want to feel kind of like you fit in.
Yeah.
But
That's the worst feeling. Feeling like I fit in. I'm like, fuck, what am I doing to fit in? That's terrible. I must feel like
switch.
hey?
I switch. Sometimes I want to just like not disrupt, but other times I do like to be a bit like contrarian. Like do my
I guess it depends on your mood. Like, how are you feeling on the day? Or not to depend on your environment.
context specific. But I suppose it's really like to do with, again, who you're around.
Around, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
read the crowd.
Yeah.
Like,
Read the room
maybe
as well,
read the
bro.
room, bro.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not like the time.
That's something with like the corporate stuffs as well, bro. Like when you do the talks, you'll see it's like because it's such different crowds and audiences. Like the biggest thing, or even just public speaking, like being able to read the room is so important. And I think like even when you were probably at school, like if you ever had those oaks who came to talk to you on Allo days, and like half the time I'd be like, yo, can this oak just finish? But then there were some guys that I really like remember even to this day. And a big part of what stood out is because like those guys read the room. Like they could see maybe when they said this, we'd react a certain way, when they didn't say this, or when they did this, and like, so I think it's important to read the room.
If you had to give 3 between 1 to 3 actionable steps for people in their 20s wanting to live a fulfilled life, what would they be?
The first one is to stop lying to yourself. Um, yeah, man, like stop lying to yourself about your reality, about where you are and about where you want to go, and about who you are. Because I think fulfillment comes from a place of like freedom, freedom from acceptance of like who you are and what's happening, and not acceptance from like this is the ultimate, but like an acceptance of like this is what's currently happening. Like I understand it's not the end all and end all, but like this is me right now, and I got to accept and make the most and squeeze the most out of this orange I have right now. Because I often think in like our 20s, it's this weird space where it's like your teen years, like sort of your fulfillment was dictated by like your parents and that sort of thing. It's like how much access do you have through them to then do all these things. Then your 20s, like now you're breaking away, you're becoming your own person. And in all of that, bro, it just feels like there's this weird middle of at your 30s, like where you're supposed to peak. In your 20s, like this awkward time of like, we don't really know what's supposed to happen here. Like some people make it out. Once they make it out, some people are successful. Some are still like living like they're in their 16s. Some are like whatever. So I think for me, it's like first thing, stop lying to yourself so that you can get to the truth, because the truth is where the fulfillment and where freedom comes from. Two, it's to start paying attention more. And what I mean by that is to start being present more. I think fulfillment comes with like being fully present where you've been placed right now. So if I'm in my 20s and I'm a student, and I often say this a lot of the time, like a lot of my friends, when I was at varsity, then I couldn't wait to get out so I can start working and making money. Now I'm like, now I've got bills to pay and all of this stuff. And I wish I'd like savored all that time more when I was just sitting in the dorm room with my friends and chatting nonsense. We were just passing a joint around, like it was stupid, or just drinking endlessly. Like I wish I was like more in that, because I think fulfillment comes with like really being fully submerged in where you're placed, not constantly thinking of like where you should be or the next place you need to be at, because I think that's a big trap in your 20s. Like you're like, when I get this then I'll be fulfilled, or when I get this girlfriend or car or whatever. I'm speaking of all the material stuff, but it's all these other things, right? That's two. I don't know if I can find a third one, bro.
You don't have to.
But I guess the third actionable step is just to say like, yeah, I don't have one. One and two are enough.
So the tools that have helped you find fulfillment in your 20s have been to stop lying to yourself,
Yeah.
take stock of reality,
Yeah.
and to be present.
Yeah. Well, and obviously the other one is, I say obviously, fulfillment for me also comes from doing hard things. So like, I mean, we hammer this one out. I guess so I didn't want to say it, but like, fulfillment in my 20s has come from like taking risks and doing hard things that otherwise people in my 20s would be like, you bro, you're crazy to do that. And I think it's through that, and it's what you said about accomplishment, that like when I do hard things I actually feel like fulfilled and accomplished, whatever that hard thing is in my 20s, whether it's like messaging a mentor on LinkedIn or some potential mentor that can they please potentially like mentor me. I think that's hard. It's hard to reach out and put yourself out there and ask for help. Exercising, starting a business, all these things, bro. I think fulfillment in my 20s so far, I can't believe we're so close to 30, bro. That's so crazy.
Yeah, bro. You're knocking on the door there.
Jesus. Anyway, but I think, what's the time?
We've got time.
It's
but 22.
But I think fulfillment for me has really come from like doing all these things that are supposedly hard, be it like marathons or whatever, that I really found like on the other side of it, I've met myself. And that's actually something I asked you, bro. It's like when I asked you about I think, was it 100K or the 100 miler? I don't think we were chatting when you did the 100 miler. But the 100K, you were like to me, I'm excited for it because I think I'm going to meet myself. And then on the other end of it, and then you came back from doing that and you were like, didn't give me what I wanted. And it goes to show that like, you remember? And then from that, it was actually just like it is, I think, in the constant thing of like doing hard things that you actually start to find, even if you don't accomplish the hard thing, like, but you get a sense of getting closer to who you are and meeting yourself, and that is fulfilling in itself. So
Through
yeah,
more and more, I realized that a lot of the big, hairy, audacious goals, like the Horizon mission and the physical things that I've pursued, the actual milestone and the actual accomplishment oftentimes feels incredibly empty. The only milestone that felt really good for me, like business and exercise both together, this is purely from a performance point of view, was the sub 3 hour marathon at Kango Caves, and that was because I failed it the
the
first
first
time.
time.
That's the only, and through that day I felt joy, and I felt like an elevated sense of like I feel fucking great.
Yeah.
But the other stuff I've done, it's always like cool, next. Like, and I don't know, like I think that speaks a lot to like the value of kind of bumping your head along the way. It makes the accomplishment a lot more
It's
meaningful.
sweeter, bro.
But also the lesson is the pursuit is what's enjoyable, and the build. Like I love that feeling of being dialed in, like measuring
Yes, you
everything,
love being dialed
tracking
in.
my workouts, like what gets measured gets managed. Shout out Peter Drucker, bro. It's like I love that shit. Like that is so much fun.
Yeah.
But the actual thing that you end up doing, which is what everyone like rah-rahs about, isn't it? It's like it doesn't feel that like
That's the thing.
you know.
It's often like this weird thing when you get to that milestone, you're like, this is it. And then everyone's giving you the praise, but you actually got more of the fulfillment, like you're saying, like
In
in
the
those
journey,
in the
bro.
journey, bro, which
But
is
that again comes to what you said about your thing around going inward. If your locus of validation is external, then the accomplishment feels fucking amazing.
amazing. Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
if your locus of validation is internal, then mainly you get way more enjoyment out of the build because you're constantly keeping promises to
To
yourself.
yourself. Yeah.
And that feels amazing
Yeah.
all the time. But there was something I wanted to ask you that I'm so glad we have like 15 minutes or so left. Twice this week, and we're only on Wednesday, the topic of weight loss has come up, particularly the psychological side of weight loss.
Okay.
You have had a journey with that and have, done remarkable things in that realm. And I know that you're a very introspective, thoughtful person. So I want to dig in a little bit to the psychology of that journey because twice this week I've had people, firstly from a coach sharing a confidential client story
Yeah.
where his client wasn't seeing the results they wanted. They were feeling incredibly disheartened, very, very down, demotivated because they weren't seeing the results. The number on the scale had gone up. Two of my other very close friends are both on a weight loss journey at the moment too. And I got a message this weekend. I spoke to one of them, very upset. He ate some stuff. He saw a fluctuation, super bummed out. I was like, "Rude, don't worry. It's just water weight."
Yeah. You
Like,
try to
talking
tell him
through
the
it.
spiel.
And then the other mate of mine was just kind of, he's at the 6 week mark now, and he was talking to me about not seeing the results that he wanted. He's done it before, and it's taking time. And again, like, bro, I sent him an 8.5 minute voice note. It was long as fuck. I looked at it after, I was like, shit, sorry, bro. But what were some challenges that you faced psychologically when going through your big cut? And how did you get through that? Because there are a lot of people that bump their heads on that journey around the psychology of weight loss.
The first thing I said to myself, for the first 12 weeks, don't expect to see anything.
It's great. That's great.
What that did for me was like, that's why I was like, kept like laughing everything you're saying, because like, it's at these marks where like at 6 weeks, you feel like I should be seeing something, right? So I told myself for the first 3 months, bro, you're not going to see anything. Your body's going to be in the worst pain. It's going to be the worst period, because it is, right? Because I hadn't exercised for a long time before I started that. So the first 2 weeks, I was in so much pain, like just because you probably wouldn't know because it's been a long time since you stopped, but I also wouldn't know that. But like, felt really sore for the first 2 weeks. For 2 weeks after that, I started to feel good. So like the feeling of like, I'm starting to like feel more energy, more clarity. So for the first 4 weeks, it was more just about like, just get into the habit. So psychologically, this is what I told myself. Just get into the habit, first 4 weeks. It's going to be cuck for the first, you're not going to see anything. Just accept that, bro. I think that acceptance made that 12 weeks actually fly by. And I'll tell you where things started to change. Because, or and I didn't change anything, bro, in these 12 weeks. I just was eating less carbs, moving more, doing strength training, and just do that. Just as long as you can do this for 12 weeks, I know that like with time things will change. After week 6, I started to feel like stronger in the gym. Like, okay, like my bench press is getting stronger. I'm squatting a bit more. Now I'm starting to feel like I can see I can like not see, I can feel the progress with the weights, but I still can't see it. But I also told myself that I'm not going to see it. It was only at week 10 where I was like, yo, I'm starting to like see a difference in the weight, but it's still like, I still wasn't like satisfied with what I was seeing in the mirror, but I wasn't looking for any of that. I told myself, like, bro, 12 weeks, you're not going to see fuck all. Leave it. Forget about it.
Where did you get 12 weeks from?
It was just in my head.
Okay.
Um,
It's a very good expectation
it was just in
management
my head. And I
number,
think
that.
it's because, like, I know you often see the thing, and I guess the belief through the journey that I have now is like after 2 weeks, you start to feel good. After 8 weeks, people start to like see and feel the energy shift in you. After 12 weeks, you start to see like the difference in yourself a little bit. Then after like 16 weeks, which is like four months, going into like 6 months, then the change starts to happen. Also, the interesting thing with weight loss, which I know you know the science of, it's like you may not see anything for those 12 weeks, but for the 6 weeks after that or the 4 weeks after that, it can be like this, bro. And you're just doing and you just keep doing this. So I think it helped, bro. I think what also helped the psychology was like I was consuming a lot of like information around weight loss at the time, like watching a lot of videos. This guy called Paul Revilla on YouTube. I'd like consume it a lot, and they would like sort of break down the science to me. So for me, I was actually more curious around like, I wonder what's happening in my body right now. Like I know I'm sticking to the rules, but like what's happening at this stage in this year? So I was actually more like I diverted my attention to the physical change, to like getting the knowledge, while staying the course. And that's pretty much all it was. But I think like what I haven't mentioned on the psychological front. So the first thing is the expectation that I'm not going to see a change for X amount of time. That sets you up for success because you're not in a rush. Like you're not saying just because after 4 weeks I've been consistent and my body's sore and my muscles feel sore and whatever, I should be seeing something. That's what our brains think. Just because like I did a massive arm pump, like, oh, but my arm doesn't look big. No, that's not how it works, right? So that was the first thing. The second thing was I told myself that I don't think I'll be able to stay this course unless I have a mate with me. So the psychological part of a weight loss journey as well is having accountability, because like you can have this big audacious goal, but understand like losing fat, bro. And like you would know as well, there's a difference between losing weight and like losing like actual like fat, because like you said with your mate, it's like it's water weight. And that can change very quickly.
Daily.
Yeah,
Hourly.
hourly, bro. Like it's, and I wish more people knew that. But it was more just like around the fact that if I'm going to walk this journey, and understand fat loss, because then I started understanding fat loss more than weight loss at the time. I was like, I need accountability. That's why I started sharing it on Instagram. Actually, it was that I felt like I needed to put this out there so that I can stay to this big thing because it's a difficult thing. Another form of accountability was my best mate that I was training with, Kumo, which is also why I'm a big advocate for people either training with a friend, training in group classes, like joining the Horizon strength classes or whatever it is, because there's a big sense of community around there. I think whenever you are in shared struggle, right, it weightens the load of that struggle. So there were days where I didn't feel like fasting, for example, because that's a big part of what I did. I was intermittent fasting. And my mate would be like, no, bro, like just push an hour. We stayed in the same race as well. He'd be like, bro, please, just 1 hour. Let's just do it. Or if I didn't feel like going to the gym. So there were definitely days where I feel like it was actually, if that guy didn't push me on that particular day, I don't know what missing that day and then another day after that and another day after that would have spiraled into. So I think there's a big sense of accountability. And 3, I think like to not get so fixated on like, and this is again the psychology of it, to not get so fixated on what you're trying to see physically, but to get more invested in who you're becoming. Because I think a weight loss journey, or even a muscle building journey, a big part of it is like what's actually happening in your mind and like how are you starting to like view yourself, your levels of confidence and all those things. So I think for me, what I would say to someone who's going through that is like, look differently at how you're measuring your success when it comes to weight loss. I think that's like the end thing, but there's so many other things to focus on in between that. How do you feel? How do your clothes fit? What's your confidence level? What's your energy levels? Are you sleeping better? Are you there's so many other things that you can measure against before that thing. So I think for me, it's like the physical weight loss part of it needs to be the last part of it. And you also can't use the scale to measure it. You got to use photos. Um, so yeah, man, the psychology was around that. I think another thing that helped me, bro, was like, because I had the misconception that I had to like feeling hungry was normal as a part of like a weight loss journey, in which we know that you're at a deficit. But then I understood that like eating more proteins because they make you feel fuller for longer helps you on that journey. So then I understood what it meant to have a high protein diet and the importance of that. So it doesn't have to be this like suffering thing and I'm hungry and I can't have this and I can't have that. It's like it's a system, bro. I think that's what people need to understand about weight loss. It operates off a system. It's almost like a science. If you crunch the numbers and do the things and understand, and then the coach brain in me understands like the overall picture of the person itself and what's happening. Because for other people, it's also like hormonal, bro. Like someone could be going through menopause and that's affecting it. Someone's going through something else. So there's so many other things that factor it. But for the most part, I think it's those things psychologically. But like, don't expect results for, I would say, 12 weeks. And the other things I said, I forgot what I said, but the other things I said.
There was something that you said that I thought was interesting, but yeah, I think the most powerful thing from what you said was the expectation management. I know what I wanted to ask. It's a twofold question. Firstly, remind me, what was your big drop? Like,
Okay.
how much did you
It
actually
was
drop?
34 kilos in 6 months.
That's fucking bonkers. And in that period, were you drinking alcohol?
No.
Okay. How long after
No.
you dropped that weight and fat did you reintroduce alcohol?
I stopped in July 2019 and I drank again in Feb on my birthday and took the biggest shit afterwards. Like, my stomach did not respond well to
How
it,
much did
man.
you drink though? Did you gooi?
No, it was one. I think it was a gin and tonic, bro. It was like a thing. It was, but literally after like it was half a glass, I was like, bro, I gotta go to the bathroom. Also, I think I hadn't eaten for some silly reason, but yeah, I did. I do still drink now, but at that time I wasn't. I think there's another part of it that I didn't mention around that was like the isolation part of it in my particular journey, because I don't want to say because I'm an extrovert, because like in the social circle, like with my friends, I can be like very influenced, bro. Like, and you now not so as much, but like if my friends had to say to me, "Young, so you're really not drinking, bruh," I'd be like, "Yo, okay, let's drink." You know, like that's just the kind of, like, okay, I would, you know what I mean? Um,
That's
so
so
I
funny.
almost felt like I had to isolate myself because I know I didn't have the discipline and willpower, and also just like the confidence to say no, without feeling bad, feeling guilty, or feeling like I have to like defend it at the time. So I was completely like not going out, not seeing like friends. I was literally like, but when people say locked in, I wish they knew how I was in 2019, because that would have been like the definition of truly locked in. It was like no Instagram, no nothing. Like, bro, it was like all I was worried about was going to the gym, eating everything I had to eat on my meal, and my lectures. That's it.
Yo.
And that's why I could do such a drastic thing, because I had the time for it. If you ask me to probably do the same thing now, it probably wouldn't be the same or not as drastic, because I don't have as much time. And that's the one thing that's like change in my perspective from like that huge transformation to like how I coach people now. Like the people I'm coaching now don't have that much time. Like it's a completely different world. And when you have responsibilities, there's like, and what I've learned too now is like you gotta make that time, but also you realize that like you're not gonna be spending 3 hours in the gym now, or 2 hours, 4 hours. It's like just get in there, do your thing, make sure you're right, and make sure you're on a program and you've got a structure. You know, that's the biggest part. Like now people just need systems. Back then I think I had time, I had flexibility to try certain things. I was doing one meal a day at some point. I was doing OMAD. So I tried out a lot of different like extreme measures because I could. And I think hence the result. But I was never like there was never a number fixated on like, and I think that's another thing. Like I never knew what I wanted to lose weight was. I just wanted to like get better. And for me, it was also never about the weight itself. I think I shared in the other episode, it was always about like the mental health side of it. It's like, how can I reclaim my power back again? And exercise became that thing for me. And like losing weight was a byproduct of just me feeling like I've got more mental clarity and clearing out this thing through exercise. Literally. So I think people need to look more than just like weight loss and just find something deeper than just like, because it's the older you get, having a six pack, being on the cover of Men's Health magazine isn't as like, okay. But what is important is being a good dad, being a good friend, being a good brother, being a good whatever. And exercise helps me with that. And I think for as long as my focus on weight loss can be more directed to like who am I becoming in that process, then I'll get there. Because you will get there.
It's more than movement, baby.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, bro. I appreciate that. Thank you for your time and your wisdom.
Shot, bro. You too.
Thank you so much for listening. We'll catch you on the next episode.
Shoo.
Cheers. Thank you so much for listening to the show, guys. We love answering specific questions. So if there's anything you want to know, leave a comment or reach out to us directly at HorizonZA on Instagram or email us at movement@horizongym.com. Until next time, I'm your host, Seb Prentice, and this is Beyond Physical.